do is talking about anime. Guess it's important to hear what they say. Argue over webs throughout night and day. Now that you listen to the Rant Cafe.
Yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy Animac from the YouTube and Twitch channel Anime Uproar, and welcome to another episode of the Rant Cafe Anime Podcast. And yes, this is an extra episode. We're doing 2 this week because we had a lot of requests to try to do more than 1 episode a week, and also we thought it would be cool to try to get partnered on Twitch. But in order to do that, we have to stream more often. So here we are with an extra episode debating the best antagonists in anime. And we're going to do it in a way where each of us have a few, like 5 of our own that we think are the best. And then we're going to be kind of judging each other's picks and basically tearing into each other as we usually do on the Rant Cafe. Joining me today, we have my co-host Briggs from All Day Anime.
What up, everybody? I'm excited to start having more Rant Cafe going on. Unfortunately, Nux couldn't make it today, but he will be here back on Thursday.
Yeah, so Nux will be here for the next episode. He couldn't make it because of this last-minute switch that we're doing, but we love him. And he is our favorite anime antagonist. We also have Evanito.
Oh my god. Thank you so much for having me back at Rant Cafe. I'm so excited to be here today. I know I'm no Nuxtaku, but I can be the spiritual embodiment for him if you guys want.
Yeah, no pressure, but you have to be the Nuxtaku of this stream, bro.
Thank you.
You're off to a bad start. Nux doesn't thank people, and he would have said it way louder.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, shit. Thank you for having me.
God damn my ears.
Well, that was, to be fair, that was quite good. That was a good impression.
Top tier.
Although you still thanked us. But anyway, also with us today, we have Hiding in Public.
The King of Fish.
The King of Fishman Island.
No.
Well, anyway, guys, let's jump into it. So basically, the way we have it set up is we each came up with 5 of our favorite villains or antagonists in anime, and I think we should start off with Evan, because he usually has terrible taste.
What? Wow. Well, okay. First of all, screw you for thinking I have terrible taste. But you know what? Because you want me to start, I'm going to go ahead and start. My first pick was Johann Liebert from Monster. Yeah, you think that's terrible, huh? Let's talk about it.
Wow, that was actually a good pick. I did not see that coming.
Exactly. Yeah. Screw you, Briggs.
You're really living up to like Nux's shadow right now. Johann Liebert's an absolute psychopath and is someone I would expect to be on Nux's list.
Well,
Yeah,
there
exactly.
goes my number 2. So is Johann your number 5?
For me, no. Johann's number 1.
Oh, you fucked up. We're starting to get 5 and working our way down, bro.
No. Okay. We'll pretend like that didn't happen. Starting from number 5, Cube. Yeah, there you go. That's my number 5.
Who the fuck is that?
The little cat demon?
Oh,
thingy
from Madoka Magica.
Yeah, that thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair. And by the way, we're not gonna be doing like protagonists who turn out to be either villains or anti-heroes. We'll leave that for another stream. This is straight up antagonists, guys.
So like no Lelouch, no Light Yagami.
Yeah, no like Lucy from Elfen Lied and so on. So yeah, Cube, very manipulative, like kawaii, and yet a psychopath like Baby Yoda is gonna eventually turn out to be.
He just doesn't care about anything except himself. Like, I feel like he just exists to be like, okay, I'm gonna make you a magical girl. Do whatever you want. I don't care.
It's a good thing I haven't seen Madoka Magica.
Have you not? Oh my gosh.
I watched the first like 2 episodes, and I think the 3rd episode's when like shit goes down. Apparently.
Yeah.
I mean, it
That's
starts
what
slow
I'm
in my opinion, even beyond like the 3rd episode. That's my opinion. It's not like the greatest thing ever. Like the thing is with Nux, like he'll recommend like watch stuff. You have to watch this, you fucking guy. And then I go and you watch it and you're like, wow, Nux really oversold this.
He
And
is a
Madoka
huge
Magica.
hype beast. He really is. Made in Abyss is an amazing anime, but like, I think it's in his top 10, right? And honestly, the only good part about the anime was like the last 3 episodes.
I will agree with you on that, actually.
But
Yeah,
he actually
exactly.
has read the manga, so to be fair, apparently it continues to get better beyond
Oh,
those
yeah.
3 episodes, right?
No, it's like basically torture porn. Like it's insane.
Sounds like something Nuxie Boy would like.
Yeah. And that's definitely not something I would like, because that's why I dropped Tokyo Ghoul, because all it is cannibal torture porn.
Yeah, yeah. I somehow watched the second season of that. Don't know why.
So did I.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why either, man.
I watched the first season multiple times. All right, Animac, what's your number 5?
So for number 5, actually, I went with the anti-spirals from Gurren Lagann.
Hmm.
And the reason I went with them is that it's not like one villain, but it kind of is, right? So if you don't know, the anti-spirals are a group, a race, a civilization, entire civilization that basically join like the Borg into a hive mind. And they used to be spirals, so they used to be like living beings, but then they decided, they realized that there was the spiral nemesis, this idea that if these living beings with spiral power keep unchecked, getting stronger and stronger, their aggression will destroy the entire universe. So they decided to turn off their basically emotions and everything and just become this like pure rational hive mind. And they also decided to destroy the spiral forces and keep the spiral beings basically locked in certain areas of the universe and limited in numbers. So they basically turned the spirals, the living beings, into essentially like what you would call a zoo. So it's like we go to see animals at the zoo. It's like, oh, look, they're at the zoo. They're so cute. But if they're overpopulated in the wild, we're going to go and hunt them. That's basically what the anti-spirals do to the spirals. And even though I'm a big fan of Kamina and the opposite ideology of the anti-spirals, I do respect them as villains because they are looking out for the well-being of the universe. They genuinely feel that the spirals are going to destroy all of existence if left unchecked. So, they're doing what they feel they have to do.
I think they're an amazing, like, I guess, organization or hive, but, like, it's kind of weird. I was expecting more of an individual from you.
I mean, I have many individuals. Like, the one thing...
The spiral network is pretty good, actually, I'd say. Because, like, for me, I was thinking either Cube or, like, the Sybil system. So I think the spiral, like, nemesis is definitely a good pick.
Well, the Sybil system is definitely way up on that list of not being an individual.
Yeah.
It's still a great antagonist, though.
This is true. All right, Hiding. What's your pick, man?
Well, my most boring pick on the list, it'll only be getting more gamer from here, is the obvious, the gifable Hyoka, the gay clown from Hunter x Hunter.
Oh,
Hisoka?
Yeah, Hisoka. Why did I say Hyoka? That's
Hyoka.
the Sorry.
Hyoka?
That's a fantastic pick. I actually have a
mainly
different
because,
pick. Go ahead. Sorry.
Mainly because I'd say he's sort of, and it's not that he's unique in this sense, but I think the way he pulls it off is great. He has no side, but he has all sides. He's basically working with the benefit and with the benefit of himself always in mind. Sometimes he's part of the troop, sometimes he's helping Gon and Killua. It's like, but everything he's doing is never for these people. It's because he knows if I benefit that person now, it'll help me in the long run. It's just this cool. It's not like he shows up and it's like, oh crap, people are gonna die. It's like he shows up and you know that he's manipulating and pulling the strings in some way, and it always brings a certain level of interest. And gay clown.
And apparently his ability has both the characteristics of rubber and gum.
That's true.
Yep, there you go.
No, I had him on my list as well, damn it. So I'm gonna have to find some other people. But I'm actually watching Hunter x Hunter right now. I'm on the Greed Island arc. And yeah, I really appreciate Hisoka because he is such a, he's a villain, but not like a main boss type of villain. He's the type of villain that's like, he's just doing whatever he wants. He's manipulating everyone. I just saw that part when he wanted to fight Crollo, and then Crollo's like, oh, I can't use my net. And he's like, oh, well, see you guys later. Like, I thought that was hilarious. And how he's like, they think he's a spider, but he's actually just like working behind their back the whole time. Like, I think that is a very cool, unconventional type villain.
Oh yeah.
Anytime he's on screen, it's going to be extremely entertaining. And it's not because like it's going to have this huge battle, but because the way he interacts with these characters is so well done. And the way he nurtures them, like you said, and brings them to their full potential just so he can slap them back down. And I actually have a different character from Hunter x Hunter on my list, but that's not my number 5. So I guess I'll go ahead. My first pick at number 5 is Aizen from Bleach. Now,
I feel like everyone was gonna pick that one. That's why I didn't pick that one.
dude, Aizen would be number 1 if he didn't fuck up. Like,
Yeah.
his first introduction is probably my favorite introduction of any villain or antagonist ever. Like, I was completely fooled by the whole faking his murder thing. And when he really, like, he sold his personality as being this nice, caring individual that was fighting for the greater good. And then when he dies, you're like, what the fuck? How did he die? He's a captain. And then he comes back, slicks his fucking hair back, and he realized he is this manipulating antagonist. And he is so, like, captains were played up to be these huge monsters. And he slapped 2 of them right when he introduces himself as this villain. And you have this huge training scene with Ichigo working up to his Bankai. His fucking OP plays. And, like, he, like, puts him down in his place with one finger. And it was just, my hype at that point was beyond, like, could not even be, like, measured. And I feel so, like ashamed for how it ended. But it was like, regardless, it was well done.
My one issue with Aizen is that looking back at, like, his introduction, in hindsight, him faking his death didn't really make much sense.
Well, that's what kind of threw everyone off. Like, how did he die? He's a captain, right? Who did he blame it on? I can't remember.
I don't remember who he blamed it on either. It's just the fact that, like, I feel like, I don't know, it felt unnecessary for, because, like, he was still a cool dude in general. I just don't think he should have, like, faked his death. He could have just, equally have, like, lived and just been like, ha, guess what, guys? I am actually the villain, and it would still be as cool.
Yeah, I guess it was unnecessary. I never really thought about that.
It was really
especially considering how much more powerful he was than everyone else.
Exactly.
No, but he faked his death in order to break into the, what was it, like, their whole government system, like, not the actual captains. Something so 50. I don't remember.
So no one could search for a dead man, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, he really did, like, he influenced the entire series. He was just so, like, larger than life. He pretty much ruled all of the hollows. He defeated an insane amount of captains, including, like, Yamamoto with his plan. And, like, the one, like, part of his plan that this, like, kind of fucks up is the fact that he trained Ichigo or set up Ichigo to be able to, like, defeat him in his plan. Like, it was so dumb.
Yeah. Hey, man, sometimes you want a challenge.
Yeah. Oh, Central 46. That's what I was trying to remember. Like, he used his faking his death in order to infiltrate the Central 46.
Yeah. Jeez, Evan, you're spreading fake news.
Who is it? Chaos. Wait, what was fake news?
There was a reason why he faked his death.
What? No. I'm not spreading fake news.
I don't know.
Hiding in public. Go get your squeaky chair.
I don't want to be harassed about it. I think this chair is good.
I will say though that slicking back your hair does give you superpowers.
This is true.
That is true.
I mean, this is proven stuff.
Damn, I should do that then.
Good luck.
Is that right?
All right, Evan. Number 4.
My turn. Okay. Well, my next pick is also from Bleach, and it is actually Ulquiorra. Now, I personally think that Ulquiorra is a better pick than Aizen, because he's the resident lonely boy. Also, I feel like Ulquiorra doesn't understand himself.
Ulquiorra is a great character.
He is. And, like, that just, makes him a better antagonist in a sense, right? Like, he's searching for something, right? And, like, he can't figure out what it is. And it just makes him a lot more, I won't say maniacal, because he's not, like, crazy or anything.
He kind of encapsulates everything that it means to be a hollow, right?
Yeah, he does. No, quite literally, he does.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think it's a good choice. I just love the fact that Aizen, like, kind of ruled over every part of the world. Like, he had control of the human world, the Waco Mundo, and then Soul Society. Like, it was insane.
Yeah, only for Aizen to be defeated by the Quincy king, who was like, "Haha, I've been planning this behind the scenes the whole time, and Aizen's plan meant nothing."
In the dark.
Yeah, the Quincy's were so lame to me. I don't know if I'm the only one that was like, these people are unnecessary.
Oh no, they were stupid.
Like, with everything else, we have the Soul Society, we have the Hollows, we have all this other stuff, and it's like, oh, the Quincy's though.
All right, Animac, number 4. What are you saying?
All right, so I'll go with the Laughing Man from Ghost in the Shell.
The Laughing Man. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, neither do I.
Well, I think Hiding would know, at least.
Hiding seen Ghost in the Shell. That's news to me.
I don't even think Hiding is here, bro. He's not even
He is literally hiding.
He's not even saying anything.
Am I not? Am I not?
No, now you're singing.
Now we hear you.
Hello?
Hi.
We hear you now, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. I
Have
don't
you
know why
seen
it
Ghost
wasn't-
in the Shell?
Of course.
He's a man of culture. Anyway, yeah, so I'm going with the Laughing Man because he is such an interesting character, first of all, because he's this, in a very futuristic world, he is this expert hacker who can, like, hack into systems, expose corruption. He can also hide his own identity, edit himself out of, like, footage, all this other cool stuff, which is definitely, like, very mysterious at the beginning. But then it turns out that the Laughing Man identity is actually, a lot of it is a standalone complex, which is, a lot of it is just created by the public, not even him. So it's like the public gets this idea of who he's supposed to be and creates this idea of him that he has nothing to do with. And then he's also obsessed with J.D. Salinger and all that other cool stuff. So yeah, I really liked the Laughing Man.
I love not knowing anything you're talking about.
That's how I was feeling about the Bleach stuff.
Fair enough.
The Sancho, thank you so much for 1,000 magical crystals.
Thank you. All right, Hiding. Since we have nothing to say, we're just going to agree with Mac here.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I just want to know more.
Great
about the
choice. Great
Laughing
choice,
Man.
Adam Mac. Well done.
Does he ever stop laughing? Is he like the Joker? Like,
He
Does he have a condition? Did he suffer a brain injury that makes him laugh?
yeah.
But he's
Uncontrollably?
not always laughing. It's just a reference to a J.D. Salinger short story.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
J.D. Salinger, king. He's the king.
Todoroki is the best antagonist because he single-handedly ruined the series. Ah!
Damn.
Oh, I could not read that. I'm sorry. All right, Hiding. What's your pick, man?
Okay, my number 4 is gonna be Oikawa from Haikyuu. This is kind of obvious, I think, for anyone who's seen IQ, why I'd choose him. Obviously, he doesn't kill people, but there's a lot of history behind him, like Oikawa and Kageyama specifically, the sort of jealousy and head games that go between them and how it threatens his pride. He sort of sees Kageyama as like not even like really a human being, but like a toy that God has put into the world just to humiliate him. And I really like this just absolute cynical, just anger and pride that Oikawa has whenever he's dealing with Kageyama. And then also with Shiro Torizawa later on, Mr. Giant Bird Boy with the tough arm. After he beats him, which isn't really a spoiler, it's kind of a side meme, his like revenge is just like unending. I see on Twitter all the time people screen grabbing that point where he's like, "Don't you forget my hollow pride," or something like that. As a character, he was very like intimidating because he's the classy, he's the attractive, the smiling, the charismatic, and he's also just like he's got the eye of like a murderer. Like he could kill someone. It's cool. I like him.
He's really well done, and especially a good contrast to Kageyama.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely best boy. He's one of my favorite characters in Haikyuu.
I ain't watching Haikyuu. Got like 10 episodes in. Pretty good.
Yo, new season coming out in 2020.
Heck
know.
yeah. I'm gonna keep pumping out Haikyuu videos. I freaking loved making my last one. I love Haikyuu.
I'm trying to find I closed my tab. I wrote down my picks.
Should have done what I did and just DM'd it to me.
Yeah, I already had several taken, so now I'm just like on this fly coming up with more.
Coming up with one.
Gosh.
All right, so my next pick is also from Hunter x Hunter, like I mentioned earlier, and we got Meruem. And
Mhm.
Yeah,
As
that's
much-
where I'm not there yet. So.
yeah, oh, maybe I shouldn't spoil. As much as I love Hisoka, and he's one of my favorite characters in Hunter x Hunter, I think when it comes to antagonists, I prefer Meruem. He is one, we get one of the best fights in all of anime, him versus Netero. But beyond that, he's this character that shouldn't be able to understand human emotion, but slowly begins to. And I can't get too into it because I don't want to ruin it for Animak. He's such an amazing character that I'd rather him go in somewhat blind. But his development, as like he's already this fucking perfect being, and like his development, and in essentially becoming flawed in a way, is so well done.
Oh yeah. I also almost put Meruem on there, so I'm really glad that we both kind of like barely skirted each other there.
Yeah, I was struggling between Hisoka and Meruem.
He is my favorite in the show. I ended up not going with him for a really good reason. It's also a good reason to pick him, and that is really the best part about his character is what you were mentioning, like him slowly becoming human, and then sort of like that part. I just love that part so much. I couldn't.
Yeah. I don't even. I can't. There's one other thing I want to say, but I can't say it.
Yeah, trying not to spoil.
Yeah, it's hard. All right. Well, anyway, Evan, what are you doing for number 3?
For number 3, I have chosen the illustrious Shogo Makishima.
Oh, oh!
There goes all of Animak's picks.
I can't, bro. I'm just saying, Shogo is just such a beautiful character.
This format is a terrible idea. First of all, Briggs.
Well, it's a genius way to re-go through topics we've already done in brackets.
Yeah, fine. Let's talk about like my number 1 pick, Makishima Shogo.
Was your number 1? Oh no!
Damn you! All right, go ahead, Evan.
Yeah, no, Shogo is just a great character in general, and like, I just love everything about him. I feel like he is an antagonist, but like at the same time, right? Like, I had an argument once, like in a video I made a while back, that like he technically did nothing wrong. But
yes,
similar to
he did a
Griffith.
lot wrong.
He did a lot wrong.
He did a lot wrong for sure.
His logic was correct. His criticism of the Sybil system is like an objective criticism, but his actions, in contrast, are no better.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, for sure.
Yeah, but see, this is the brilliance of Makishima Shogo, and why I love him as a villain. He does terrible things that you would never advocate or support, but he is doing these things because he's doing them for the greater good, and he truly is fighting an evil system, a corrupt system, a dangerous system. But the way that he's doing it, the way he's trying to like snap people out of it and out of the control that the system has over them, is by shocking them with horrible villainous deeds of murder and destruction. So it's like, you understand what he's trying to do, and I agree with what he's trying to do, but his methods are terrible. But he thinks that his methods are the only way to do it, right? So he's like, it's either that or eternal slavery for all of humanity. So take your pick.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the Sybil system also believes that they're doing things for the greater good. It's sort of like Shogo, how I interpreted him, he sort of recognizes that there is no possible way that a greater good can be obtained through anything other than the collective decision of all of the people. If people disagree, who counts as the greater good except for all of people? And so if people don't want something to happen and are actively being acted against, that's not contributing to the greater good. The whole idea of the greater good is a flawed concept in terms of like the Sybil system. That's how I saw it. It was kind of a critique of that. That everyone should have the choice to live their life as they do.
Yeah, so what I mean when I say greater good, I don't mean the greater good for the greatest number. I mean like what he thinks is the greater good
for everyone.
For everyone in terms of like conquering or throwing off the shackles of the Sybil system. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and also we are talking about psychopaths here. A couple people are asking in chat.
Oh,
we just mentioned a villain and started going off.
Because, like, being the men of culture we all are, we assume that you would know what psychopath is.
You guys all knew. Come on.
Yeah, we made a lot of assumptions there. They had seen Psychopath and that they remember what the Sybil system is.
Yeah, it's true, because Psychopath is one of my like most memorable anime I've ever seen. So to me,
good.
it's just like,
Yeah, it always fights for the number 1 spot versus One Piece for me. So it's up there.
Well, those are two very different anime.
They are, but I can't decide.
It's It's either yayo or like cyberpunk murder.
Well, once you start reading One Piece, you'll realize it's not as like bright and like all fun and games as you think.
No, I know. Like it's like Hunter x Hunter. When it first started, I was like, "What is this childish bullshit?" And it's like, "Oh well, everyone's dying. It's interesting.
Yeah.
People are just getting wrecked." Because like I'm like, "What is this guy? Some kind of fisherman? He's like Ash Ketchum, just going on a journey." It's like, "Oh wait,
Just fishing for monsters. Hell yeah.
yeah." No, yeah, it's definitely an interesting aspect of Hunter x Hunter. It defies expectations. But no, yeah, obviously, great pick, Evan.
No, yeah.
Kudos.
Thank you.
Kudos.
So do you have a number 3, Animac, or was it stolen?
I guess I could go with our boy Dio from
Damn it, that was mine for the next round.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Well, now I'm giving back.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, Dio. I just like Dio. Even as a normal human in part 1, he's just such a devious, malicious dude. But on the one hand, you understand where he's coming from because he came from a terrible family. His father was a piece of shit, right? So it's not like he had like good exemplars. He just learned, this life is just a struggle, survival of the fittest. So I gotta do what I gotta do. And then when he becomes a vampire, he becomes like the quintessential like Dracula-esque figure, just like ravaging women and taking what he wants when he wants it. And he's just like this archetype of villain.
And like he really does drive the entire series when you think about it. Like he's like the main antagonist of season 1 or part 1. Part 1, part 3, part 5's his son, and every time he's on screen, you know it's going to be entertaining, and his charisma captures every moment that he is part of the series. He like, I wouldn't say he's an overall deep protagonist or antagonist, but he is one of the best ones at like capturing the like audience's interest. Like I just want him. Like it's kind of bullshit that he keeps coming back, but I want him to come back because he is just such an amazing antagonist, and I want to see the way he interacts with other JoJos.
Bubba, thank you for 1,000 magical crystals.
Very
telling
cool.
me Dio comes back? You just spoiled it for me, man.
Well, he obviously came back in part 3. Have you not watched it?
No, I haven't watched it. We've been over this every single time I've been here.
Rumor has it he
too
comes
bad,
back
man.
in part 6 and 7 too, and Evan.
Ah!
I'm just trolling. I don't know if that's true.
No, but yeah, Dio has that quintessential like villain antagonist persona, that presence. Like like you said, he's not a philosophically deep villain, but he's still such a memorable, memeable villain. And like basically, without Dio, would we even have a Nux Taku? I don't think so.
That's true. That's true.
Kono Dioda.
Dio and Sans.
Imagine Nux Taku never saying Zawada. Imagine it.
Our ears would definitely be in a much better situation right now.
But with our psyches.
No. All right. Hiding. I think we're on number 3, right?
Yeah, this is number 3. So I'm not gonna argue that this guy is actually better than the other main antagonist / protagonist. Technically, he's a good guy, but he is the antagonist. I'm not gonna argue he's better than the other obvious one. You'll know who I'm talking about once I say his name. But I do want to argue this guy's really underrated, and I love him. And that's Nate River, also known as Nier from Death Note.
Yes.
Ooh.
Finally, someone who appreciates Nier. I'm like, I always thought I was the only one, man.
Yeah,
I think everyone just prefers L, but I didn't never overly dislike Nier. I didn't like Mello or whatever his name is.
Yeah, Mallow he's a big goose, but I feel like often the meme is that Nier's just like L2, but there's actually a lot of different differences that I enjoyed, and I wanted to substantiate myself a little bit, so I probably over-prepared, to be honest. I looked at some stuff that apparently the author had said about him. So the author said that the manga even confirmed that he's the smartest character in Death Note. He's confirmed he is the smartest one, partially because he doesn't really take anything off the table, unlike L. And that includes cheating. He's willing to cheat to win. Nothing is off the table. He'll set people up to die. He doesn't care. He's willing to go beyond the boundaries of other, other people like Mallow or Mallow is willing to go beyond it, but he's not very smart. So
Yeah, he's more impulsive. Mellow's more impulsive.
yeah. I also also like his sort of childishness. I mean, L kind of has that quirkiness with him, eating the cake, sitting in the chair funny. He has some sort of awkwardness to him. But the always like playing with blocks, the finger puppets, all that sort of stuff, it was always so endearing and interesting to me with Nier. And also, spoilers for one of the most popular anime of all time that came out more than 10 years ago. He's the one who ends up finally killing Kira. So,
It's true.
I mean, he's a good guy. He's a good antagonist.
I'd say the main reason L couldn't like get Kira was because like of his morality. He was too good of a person to act on something if he wasn't 100% sure, right?
Exactly.
So like if he technically, and that's good, it's a good contrast to Light, who was so corrupt in comparison. But I feel like if he just kind of bended his morality a little bit, he would have won pretty early on.
Seth, the programmer, has an interesting video though about L and how his vigilante tactics are not necessarily moral. But I do agree. I love Nier. I think that Nier, not as much as L, of course. L is the legend, but I think Nier is a good follow-up to L. I like the idea that both Nier and Mello had to work together in order to win, and I think that Nier's whole playing with toys and stuff. Like I personally do that too. Like if I'm planning out like a fiction story or something, because I write fiction, I love to like I'll act it out with like toys and stuff. So I've always loved toys. I've been a toy guy, so I relate to my boy Nier.
We're gonna have to get you some toys of Lord D. Brigo and Lord Nuxanor, because the prologue of the Isekai light novel is done, and we may be doing a read through in the next Rant Cafe.
Well, not maybe. I'm doing it. Whether Nux
just force him into it.
Either Nux gonna do it or I'm gonna do it, but we're doing it, and then we're getting ready to write the rest of it as well. Like I'm doing the writing, but we brainstorm together before I do.
I don't think I have the writing capabilities to pull off a novel, but Animac like already he's got it down. But me and Nux are brainstorming like memes and shit.
Yeah, they're like, hey, it'd be funny. It'd be funny if hiding in public was just like naked all the time, except for a bag on his head. It's like, yeah, cool. Now put it in the story, bro.
Yeah, we're just turning the entire thing into a meme, but it's actually fucking hilarious. Like really, like honestly, well done, Animac. You did a great job. I'm excited to share it with everyone.
You as well, sir. Where the hell were we? What were we talking about now?
I just finished my number 3, which was Nier.
Yeah, so, Nier's cool. I like Nier.
My number 3 was Dio, so I have to come up with an honorable mention to take its place because I don't want to get to my number 2 just yet. So I'm gonna go with Isaiah right here, the Mad Lad. I'm kind of just came up with this on the spot, but he was manipulating everything from the shadows. I wish they had a little bit more focus on him, and his sense of morality was just people are already screaming Isaiah in chat. That's hype. His sense of morality was very interesting.
Yeah, I agree. Isaiah is very interesting because he's such a troll character, and yet you can always feel throughout the whole series that there is something sinister about him. He has all these secrets, and it's like, and then like he has like twin sisters, and I was like, what the fuck was that? Because I thought he was like this like sinister demon dude, but then he has just like these twin sisters who are normal students, and I was like, what? But yeah, we're talking about what's it called? Durarara, for those who are wondering.
I made Chad happy. They were asking for Isaiah the entire time.
Yeah, there were a few people, and you have a poster of him right behind you, Briggs. So I mean,
people always say that. Like even when we were talking about in a previous like iconic characters or something like that, or I don't remember the podcast, but they're like, he's literally behind you, Briggs, like Shizuo. Anyway, that was just an honorable mention. Evanito, it's all you for number 2.
Okay. All right. So, you already know my number 1, but we'll forget that you guys know that. And my number 2 is actually just my favorite One Piece antagonist overall.
I swear, and it's fucking steal mine.
Rob Lucci.
Oh, never mind.
Yes, I didn't steal yours. And like
Paul Blart Mall Cop. Yeah.
Hell yeah. And I feel like he's really good because like I feel like he was like obviously Luffy and the crew had like threats before they met him, but like I feel like he was like their first genuine like I guess world level threat, right?
Wasn't Enel before that?
Yeah, but like
that's god level threat, man.
Okay, whatever. He was a fake god though, but like
he felt like a fucking real god to me.
True,
I still
but it's
praise
like
him.
when they tangle with the world government, like
Oh yeah, okay, I agree.
for the first time, and it's like, oh crap, like things are getting serious. And obviously, at first they think like, oh, okay, he's just gonna be like the regular run of the mill villain. We're just gonna beat them like really easy, and no, they lose. Like especially like Luffy versus Robin. It's like, holy crap, like he can't beat this guy.
Yeah.
So I just think that he's just absolutely amazing. And then obviously when they meet again, and Lucci's like, ha ha ha, you'll never be able to beat me.
Steve
You're
Buscemi.
weak. Your crew's useless. All this other stuff. And Luffy is like, no. And yeah, you know what happens next. You guys read or watch it.
Let's just pay attention to how Rob Lucci is a master puppeteer and can talk through his pigeon without movement of his lips. I think that's worthy. I think that makes him worthy of being on this list alone.
There you go.
That Xeno Wars, by the way, comment.
Master ventriloquist right there.
Yeah, and but to be honest, man, like I like Rob Lucci quite a bit, but I have like 5 other antagonists I'd prefer over him.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's fair. Obviously, there's like other threats down the line, but like I just like him more than anyone because, like, again, I feel he was the first real threat.
Yeah. All right, Animac, what's your number 2? I know it was stolen. Maybe we could just do an honorable mention here.
All right, I'll go with Griffith from Berserk.
Well, you just stole my my number 1 pick, man. It's so fuck. God damn it. Maybe I should have told you to do an honorable mention. Griffith is my favorite antagonist in all of like anime and manga. His contrast to Guts is so well done, and then you get the swap at the eclipse. Oh, I don't even know how to describe how much I love Griffith.
Yeah, Griffith is really an interesting character because, he definitely did a lot of things wrong. But again, he does it for something that I think is compelling. Like he grew up poor, he grew up in horrible conditions, was abused, all this type of stuff. And his goal is to create his own kingdom where he can solve the injustices that are plaguing that world. But how can you actually make a better world? How can you solve injustices? How can you make a difference? You need power. You need power. And Griffith is willing to do anything for that power, for what he seems to believe is the greater good, even betray his friends and do terrible things. And I mean, that allure of power and the idea that, oh yeah, you might need to do terrible things to get power, but then when you get it, you can do so much good. All those ideas are very interesting to me, and when they're well done, like with Griffith in a villain, I think it's very, very compelling.
What do you guys think about Griffith hiding Evan?
I'm still I'm not in the dark about Berserk. I know a few of the different things that happen and all that, but I still haven't personally checked it out, so I'm not gonna give my opinion any weight.
Fair enough. It's definitely worth checking out. I think it's one of the best mangas of all time. And Griffith is, like I said, my number 1 favorite antagonist.
I think when I watched Berserk, because I don't read anything, because I can't read.
True, I can confirm.
Yeah, like when I watched it, I felt like obviously Guts had like the worst life ever. And I felt like Griffith, had a really good life, and he was obviously fighting for good and all this stuff. And it was really unfortunate what happened, and he kind of just became a part of the problem.
But Griffith didn't have a good childhood. Like, he had a lot of struggles that he faced.
He did, but like
part of the appeal is because is that he's so complex like that. Like, he was never a good person per se, but he was trying to put up this like front of being this perfect person that would be supported by everyone because he knew what it took to like manipulate people. And then when everything came spiraling down and his plan was ruined, he kind of gave in to that dark side that he had all along. And he still had a good goal or like idea, but now he's just kind of like, I'm done with this facade. I'm just gonna go full like fucking evil, like whatever, evil badass to obtain this goal that is like, I guess, good in the long run. It's a contradiction, but it's just so interesting and complex.
And again, it's like good intentions, but they come from a bad place.
Exactly. Well, at first, like, it was coming from a bad place, but he tried to do it in a good way. And then after, like, I don't even want to say exactly what happens for everyone watching, but It was so well done.
But shit happens.
Shit
That's all you need to
fucking
know.
hits the fan, and Griffith embraces that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he is a fascinating character, absolutely.
And I think what makes him so fascinating is his, again, the contracts and his relationship with Guts.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
He's a very good guy.
Very cool boy. Yeah.
Who's
Alright.
next?
I think it's hiding. I kind of went off, but it wasn't my turn.
Is it me?
Yeah, you're number 2, I believe.
All right, I have my number 2 and my number 1 still. I almost want to be like, hey, I'll give you guys $20 if any of you guys have these in your honorable mentions, but I'm pretty certain that you don't. So number 2 is completely left field. I figured that's part of the benefit of something unique I can offer. Is Heartseed from Kokoro Connect. So Kokoro Connect is a kind of paranormal drama show. It's kind of melodramatic, but it's about 5 kids in a club, as many anime are. But instead of it being all lighthearted and stuff, there's this paranormal figure who possesses the body of one of their teachers and basically tells them that they're going to undergo a number of trials. And Heartseed, basically what he does is through each individual arc, he controls each of them. So like in the first arc, he makes them switch bodies with each other. So at random times and random increments, leading up to him making one of the girls try and commit suicide. In the second arc, he like makes people de-age and age back up, going back to days right after they've experienced trauma in childhood, like basically forcibly digging up their trauma. In one case with one of the girls who got assaulted, to say it lightly. It's really intense, and he's like this just mysterious evil figure who is very cold, lifeless, dead fish eyes through everyone he goes through, and he just does it for the entertainment. He wants fun. He's like, I want you to entertain me. And if it ever stops being entertaining for him, if they ever try to just like hide in their rooms or whatever, he forces it out of them. He's just a cool antagonist. You never end up really getting the resolution you want. He appears one day and he leaves one day. You find out little things that might piece it together, but really you never end up knowing much about him other than he's sort of this just traumatic centerfold for what Kokoro Connect is. And in a way, he's kind of more of a plot device for convoluted and unique creative ways for the characters to get to know each other. But it's just really cool. I just thought he was a really horrifying antagonist as a kid when I saw the show.
Well, he sounds like a sick fuck. Good job.
He's awful.
Who likes a quick fuck?
Good job.
What?
I said sick fuck. You're a sick fuck, Briggs. Anyway, thank you all, by the way, to SKHXD10 for 1,050 magical crystals. And yes, Griffith did do stuff wrong. I'm sorry, bro.
Yo, hiding. That anime sound like the concept sounds amazing. What's it called? Kokoro Connect?
Yeah, Kokoro Connect. I'll tell you though, it's really, really melodramatic. I mean, it's reasonable because of what they're going through, but there's a lot of like, it just doesn't feel good sometimes. Like the characters are kind of like dirtbags to each other, and then in later parts there's a lot of crying, and it's just sometimes you hate the characters that you're watching. I won't say it's a perfect show, but as an antagonist, he's super evil.
That to me was Eureka 7 with Renton, fucking crying all the time.
Oh, I thought you were going somewhere completely different with that. I was like, what?
No, I mean like. Just
I
seeing
know. I get
people
you.
cry, like, yeah. Who's next? Is it Briggs?
Yep. So my number 1's gone, but my last one is my number 2 pick, Doflamingo from One Piece.
Oh, the guy who wears like Elton John outfits.
Yes.
Cool.
Has anyone else seen One Piece up until that point?
Yes, obviously.
Evan, yes. Adamak, no.
Um,
Hiding, no.
No. But I look forward to learning about Don Flamingo,
Doflamingo. Don
when we
Quixote.
start up
I don't-
the One Piece podcast, which will be
Dude.
starting up as soon as we hit 10K followers here on the Rank Cafe Twitch.
Doflamingo is his first introduction. I already loved him, and he like was not relevant to the story at all. He was a Shichibukai, and during the War of Marineford, he comes out with this line, and he's basically like, whoever wins this war is right, is justice type of thing. Because it's like, and they're gonna shape history for the future. Because One Piece has this like theme of corruption, and they have this whole story about the Void Century and stuff like that. And the winner of like that came out of previous wars were the ones who kind of decided what was right and wrong. So the loser of this war is going to be right in the history books and vice versa. So he came out with that, and I'm like, holy fuck, I already love this guy. And then I don't know how many 100 chapters later, we actually get his main arc, and we see where all of that was rooted. And he was, I can't spoil what he used to be. But anyway, he had a fucking terrible, terrible, terrible childhood, and that kind of morphed the person he is today. He was this super powerful being who was able to kind of manipulate everything from the shadows, literally and metaphorically. If you know what his quirk is. Quirk, oh my god, his devil fruit.
Quirk.
Yeah, fuck, I've been talking about My Hero Academia too much.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Anyway, so dog flamingo, you said?
Shut the fuck up.
I'm kidding. He's two animals, dog and flamingo, but together he's fierce. No, I'm just saying this to trigger One Piece fans, guys. I know.
Yeah.
I know. Okay. All right. So we gotta go Evan's number one, and we all know who that is. Johan Liebert.
Galarian Magikarp. I'm kidding. No.
Are you sure?
It is. No. Yes, I'm sure. It's Johan. And I guess Animac can like add to this later, but like I think he's like great, right? Because like the show, first of all, if you guys didn't know, it's called Monster. The manga, I believe, is also called Monster. Never read it, just watched the anime. But Johan is the embodiment of the monster, I feel, right? Because like he starts off as this kid that like the dude saves. I forgot the dude's name, which shows
Tenma.
how much. Yeah,
Tenma.
I completely forgot his name because I care more about Johan. And like Johan genuinely terrified me because he saves this kid. And, he's like, okay, well, I'm saving this kid. Haha, doing good because I'm helping shut down this facility or whatever. Yeah, it turns out the kid that he saved happens to be a complete psychopath and just loves murdering people for, like, no real reason. And it's just insane because it's like, well, damn, man. Like, I saved your life, and now you're out to, like, not only, like, kill several people, but also, like, frame me? It's just really unfortunate because like Johan has no remorse over any of his actions. And one of the things I like distinctly remember is that like when he was like in like the little facility or whatever, I forgot what it's called, or like it's where the orphanage. There you go. Wow, I couldn't remember the name of an orphanage. But yeah, when he was in the orphanage, essentially for no reason, Johan just decided to just kill everyone. And it's like, why? Like, sure, they were training these kids to be like super soldiers and stuff, right? But like, he just out of nowhere just decides, hey, I'm gonna kill everyone, and everyone's just like, what? Like, no. And they couldn't really fault him for it, right? Because they're like, well, yeah, because when he came into the facility, he was already like off his rocker, he was already kind of a monster. And just, sorry, I mean, you can get back to it.
No, I love the setup for Monster because so you have this guy. Tenma, he's this successful surgeon in a hospital that's corrupt, where they want the surgeons to prioritize like people who are famous or politicians and stuff like that, and they don't think that every life is equal. They want to have a good reputation as a hospital, they want to get more money. And at one point they ask him, instead of operating on this kid, you should operate on the mayor of the city in order to save him. But he's like, no, I'm tired of this corruption. I'm gonna save this kid. And he's like loses his career because of this. He's condemned by by his co-workers, loses his fiance because he refused to go with the flow. And then it turns out that this kid was actually a psychopath murderer. So it really is a conflicting, interesting start. But yeah, Johan is a genius, and it's really an interesting villain for that reason. The only reason why I would put someone like Makishima Shoko ahead of Johan is because I like villains who have actually like compelling ideology rather than just being psychotic nihilists.
Yeah.
But that's my personal preference.
Well, there's just more depth to it that way.
I would agree.
Maybe I just like psychotic nihilists, okay? I had Ulquiorra and now Johan.
Sorry, Yarrow. I'm surprised Yarrow Shen from I can't remember his channel name from the last podcast didn't have
Yarrow
Johan
Shen,
Liebert.
yeah.
didn't have Johann Liebert on his funniest anime characters.
Because he kills children. Oh man, good times. I mean, not good times.
Someone just reminded me of that. He's like, Castor is the funniest character ever in anime.
He said number 5 funniest, but yes. That was a fun podcast.
That was such a fun podcast. Oh my god, I can't words today. This is what happens. I recorded for like 45 minutes right before this podcast, and I feel like my throat is just absolutely destroyed.
What did you say you did? What did you do?
I recorded for like 45 minutes prior to this
okay.
podcast, and I feel like I can't speak anymore.
Yeah, well, that's the life of a YouTuber
Gamer.
Dude, I feel fucking bad. I sent it to Axel to edit, and that was the worst recording session I've ever had in my life.
Did you like?
I just couldn't say words.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you like shit yourself.
It was bad. It's probably gonna be like 10 minutes, but like I recorded for like an hour. 45 minutes.
Oh. Yeah, that is terrible when that sort of stuff happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, some days it's rougher than others for sure.
So who's next?
I think I'm next, right?
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna be. I guess I can't say that one because it doesn't quite fit what we're doing. So I'll just go with Gilgamesh from Fate Zero, but specifically from Fate Zero, not other shit. Because I thought that Gilgamesh in Fate Zero was a great antagonist because again he had a very compelling ideology. Like he comes and he's like, "This world is weak. You have all these like pussies. They can't. What kind of humanity is this? Humanity that's so weak will die off because it's survival of the fittest." So he's like, I must rule as the king as I ruled in the past, and create a empire of actually strong people capable of surviving.
His arrogance is just so entertaining.
Yeah,
everything that comes out of his like mouth is just pure gold.
Yeah, in Fate Zero.
Yes.
I wasn't a huge fan how he looked like in Fate Stay Night, he was kind of like a teen heartthrob or some shit. Like he was dressing like that. I was like, what is this?
Thank you for the 200 bits, Sam the Gunman. Very cool.
Anyone else on Gilgamesh, or you want to move on?
I'm not familiar with Fate personally.
I think Gilgamesh is great. In Fate, I probably would have chosen what's his name? The guy with the claws. The priest guy.
What? That guy's something with a K. Something with a
Kire Kotamine.
That sounds familiar, yes.
Kire, yeah. He's lame. I mean, he's better in Fate Zero. He's better in Fate Zero than Fate Stay Night. But
well, yeah, of course. That's why I feel like he's better than Gilgamesh in Fate Zero.
Oh, I disagree with that, sir.
Okay, this guy's over here, Gilgamesh, trying to get the Holy Grail so he can like become king of the world or whatever. Whereas freaking Kire, or however you pronounce his name, is like, oh hey man, I what was his motivation? I can't even remember. He just wanted to do dumb shit, okay?
Well, there's your problem, bro.
I don't even think what's it called? Gilgamesh wanted to use the Holy Grail. It was originally stolen from his Gate of Babylon, and he already has everything the world has to offer, so he has no wishes. He just wanted it back, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he just thought that he was already suited to be the emperor. He didn't need shit, bro.
I will say I just love the shot where he like survives in the end and he's just naked. 10 out of 10.
I don't remember Kire enough to talk about him, but Gilgamesh left an impact.
Yeah, exactly.
Hiding, what's your number one?
Well, this number one happens to be one of the most underrated antagonists for many shonen ever made. Yes, the best. It's from a series that ran for 32 manga volumes and had a crappy anime adaptation. I mean, it might have been okay. I didn't like it very much. He is Hao Asakura. I haven't seen anybody really talk about this series, but it's Shaman King. He is the final big bad of Shaman King. He's cruel, he's cold, and he's all smiles. He uses this special type of attack he has. So in Shaman King, reincarnation and that sort of thing is it's a big meme. Specifically, this is his third reincarnation. this reincarnation is as the protagonist Yo's brother, and Hao has this sort of very special type of just disgustingly evil attack that's greater than anyone else's, called the Spirit of Fire, where whenever he comes out and he kills somebody, they have no chance of reincarnating or coming back because he burns their soul so they can never come back to the world in any future timeline. It's like it's like a death beyond a death. I mean, I guess in the sense, you know, he has the reincarnating thing. He keeps going. And then eventually, you know, Yo takes him over and beats him. I love Shaman King, and I had to put him as number 1 because I loved this guy as a kid. He's got the long, slick back, cool hair, which means that he's cool, of course. And then he's he's amazingly powerful. He's cruel. He's cold. He grew up in an area that was surrounded by war, and so he got to understand the cruelty of the world whenever he first grew up. And so he believes that the world is just a disgusting, dim place. So he wants to be the Shaman King to then, of course, kind of wipe it and shape it in his image, how he wants the world to be. No, he's a cool dude, and he just pretty much, I think this is like first time he comes on, he also just kills people, just like to establish authority. Always liked him. Never really get a chance to talk about him because nobody else cares about Shaman King, and it had a not very good anime adaptation. Sorry, Evan, did you make a video on Shaman King?
Look around you, look beyond. Okay, I'm not gonna sing the entire thing.
I honestly kind of forgot that Shaman King existed until you just mentioned it. But yeah, that's old school
Exactly.
stuff. I vaguely remember it, but only the anime. I didn't actually read the manga.
The manga is freaking awesome. It's 32 volumes. It was so cool. Of course, I'm also heavy nostalgia goggles. I haven't reread it in the last like 6 or 7 years probably, but I totally have a perfect memory and judgment, obviously.
Yeah, like that's a fair point because a lot of the anime that we casually talk about once in a while, you haven't seen in a while, and who knows what you would think of it if you rewatch it. Like sometimes I'll watch like cartoons from the 90s that I watched as a kid, and I'm like, man, this is not as good as I remembered it.
Except Courage.
That happens a lot of times with me. Like I went back and watched Dragon Ball Z, and I was just like so sad.
This is awful. Why am I watching this?
I went and read the manga, and it was a lot better done, especially for Dragon Ball. It just took so long for anything cool to happen.
Although I will say that I watched Division of Escaflowne several years a few years ago, but many years after watching it originally, and I thought it still held up pretty nicely.
Vision of Escaflowne. I don't think I've heard of that. What's that?
It's like a mecha fantasy anime, but like it's a girl protagonist, so it's like crazy.
Oh,
Her name is
Actually,
Hitomi.
That's my name.
I like how I typed in the Vision, and that somehow was the first thing that popped up. Thank you, Google.
So my honorable mention, since my number 1 was Griffith was taken, is Garo from One Punch Man.
Oh no,
dude! I read the webcomic, and oh my god.
Well, how like I mean, he's interesting, but he's not like so great like you and Nux. Like,
well, like I think
what happens in the webcomic, bro? What happens?
So you saw
a compelling background.
No, the background doesn't really change too much,
Of course, because it sucks.
he continues to evolve and change, and it's awesome.
Because like, is he a monster or is he a human? I don't know. It's so complex, man.
Well, he just like it was literally just the start. I'm not spoiling anything. Don't worry. People are like saying no spoils, no spoils. Like we only saw like the very, very beginning of his like metamorphosis. But anyway.
Okay, so what is he, a butterfly now? Like,
yeah, it's a very complex person.
Yeah, I guess I just don't appreciate Garu. He was one of those things that was oversold by Nux to me, and I was just like, bro.
Yeah, I feel like Nux, because he had already read a lot of the webcomic when the anime came out, and I feel like he saw the beginning, and like he just appreciated it so much more because he knew what was happening. So like Nux, what he does, he just overhypes everything, but he does what he does best, you know?
Yeah, a few people mentioned this, and I agree with this. Askeladd from Vinland Saga. Like, he's definitely not a villain, but he definitely counts as an antagonist, and I think he's a
That's
great
true.
character overall.
That's true.
He's
I finally started watching Vinland Saga. Yeah, I
people
agree.
kept
Pretty
on saying that the entire time, and I love Askeladd. I think he's an amazing character, but I don't even really think of him as an antagonist.
I think he is an antagonist in the sense that he is the main antagonist for the first part of the story for Thorfinn.
good. Yep.
But you can argue he's not a villain, obviously, but he is an antagonist.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess I have also read the manga, and I feel like Thorfinn and him get very close in a way, and his actions, Askeladd, and what he's like, what his goals and ambitions are, tend to not be very antagonist worthy. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it without spoiling it.
Yeah, don't you dare spoil it because I'm actually enjoying the anime.
Well, you better be. Nick James, thank you for subscribing.
I'd rather say that he's very much a protagonist.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, Thorfinn is the protagonist, so then anything compared to Thorfinn is what we can consider whether it's a protagonist or an antagonist.
Yeah.
How he relates to Thorfinn.
I mean, I get where you're coming from too. At the same time, though, Briggs, because like he only really like killed the dude's dad because obviously he was contracted to do it, and like not because he really wanted to. So,
But still a dick move, guys.
Still
Yeah.
a dick move. Anyway, has everyone said their number one pick?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I said mine.
Hell yeah.
Like my real pick was Shogo, but that I went with
He's
Gilgamesh.
still number one in our hearts.
Any
I thought he was like
honorable
number 2
mentions?
for you, or number 4 for you, or number 3 for you, Evan.
Yeah, that was for Evan. For Evan.
Yeah.
Yeah. You say our hearts.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'm sorry.
Also, another honorable mention I would give it to Father from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
He was a good man.
No, that's actually a good one too.
Well,
I wouldn't
say he's a
he's
good
man.
One. He's a bad one, but I mean,
He wanted to kill God by sacrificing an entire nation of people. So
You're
I mean,
right. That is kind of weird that he didn't even get brought up till the very end here. That is pretty epic. Like that's
Yeah.
that's a pretty epic proportions.
that's an epic gamer move. That's an Apex Boys move right there.
That's a badass ambition of an antagonist. Yeah, there you go.
Kira Yoshikage is a solid antagonist. I know Nux
Yeah,
would
he's
have mentioned it, so I had to put it in here.
Yeah, Nox is probably like freaking out right now that no one talked about Kira.
How dare none of them mention it? Yeah.
He just wants a peaceful life. Although I do think that Killer Queen is a great stand.
Stain
One of the
from My Hero Academia.
Yeah, Stain
Yeah,
was
like-
gonna be one of my options as well, but I
No,
wasn't too
no,
certain
okay.
about that.
You can't do Stain and like Makishima Shogo in the same like
Well, that's why I didn't do it, right?
because Stain's motivation is it's like interesting, but like Shogo is so much deeper. It's similar idea, like he does bad things for good reasons, but he's so much deeper that you can't really, Stain. We need to get a lot more about his character.
Yeah, well, it's like Stain's logic isn't completely like grounded in reality, while
Yeah, it is.
Makishima's is. Like Makishima, like you can just it's math. Like he's correct in a like strictly like this is how reality functions way.
Yeah.
The whole issue that Stain has is based in sort of just his personal grievance, and he has no real way of sort of describing or explaining it that's purely like objective, I guess, or close enough to it. Because he's basically just like, oh, well, heroes shouldn't be famous for being heroes. And it's like, okay, but like, you'd rather them not save your life?
Yeah, so he's killing heroes because they're corrupt, but there's all these villains running around that you could be killing that are more right. So why?
That are both corrupt and not helping people.
Yeah.
It's like if you had like a really, let's say you had like a little town, right? And you had people who were littering all the time, and then you had people who like would tell people like who would like brag about how much they are helping people while they picked up the trash. It's like, well, you don't start attacking the people who are bragging while picking up the trash while people littering are right across the street. Like, even if you find the point, they're objectively doing the good thing. Like, yeah.
That is so funny. It's like, how dare you brag about picking up the trash, you piece of shit.
Like it's annoying. Like you could crap on him for it, but like to say like you shouldn't be able to pick up the trash. You shouldn't. How dare you brag about it? Meanwhile, like people causing the problem. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, whatever, man.
I
As
think
long as you're quiet about it.
that's an amazing point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like that's why people are like, I hate YouTubers who make videos for views. It's like
I mean, yeah, it's a
People
similar
want-
thing.
people want views. Every YouTuber wants views. Like if you didn't want views, then all your thumbnails would be just like a blank black screen, and you would have no title, and you would just be like,
Dude, I can't handle people that like, because like I'll over exaggerate and say a character's trash and then talk about what I like and dislike about them. And it's just like, they don't want me to use the word trash because I'm demeaning one of their favorite characters. But it's just like, do you want me to say that they're a very average character? A lot of people are going to click on that.
yeah, I know. I know. Like I mean, every YouTuber wants views. Like
It's definitely
and-
a balancing game for what you personally find and are comfortable with. Like there's, it's a certain level of integrity. It's like, well, what are you comfortable with, and
I have zero
know,
integrity.
what level?
As long as I think the
It's
video is
balancing.
entertaining, that's the only thing I care about. Like I don't care if you're upset about what I say or the thumbnail or title. As long as the video is entertaining, that is my only goal as a YouTuber.
bro, I would make a video with Morgs and Morgs' mom if I had to.
Yep.
I wouldn't. I couldn't. I couldn't bring myself.
Because you're a coward hiding in public.
I am. I'm not socially capable enough for a situation like that.
That's not entirely true.
You have more hope in me than I do.
Anyway, anyone else we really have to talk about before we wrap it up? I mean, I'm sure someone in the chat and comments and stuff is gonna be like, "How could you not talk about all the Mushi from Mushishi? How?" etc.
Yeah. Well, I feel like a lot of people are mentioning Pain and other characters from Naruto. I would say, what's his name? Itachi is a pretty good anti-hero, anti-villain. Another one of those characters that like kind of does horrible things, but for a greater good.
Yeah, definitely choose.
But I could never consider him a hero or an anti-hero, really, just because of how terrible of things he's done. Like, you slaughtered your entire clan, including, like, women and children and babies and
just because you
old
were
people.
told to do so. It's
Yeah.
like, okay.
It's like, I'd rather him rebel against the government. But
Exactly.
I made a whole fucking video about that.
But as long as you didn't say that he could beat up Goku, you're okay.
I don't know,
true.
man. He probably could, if you really think about
Oh,
it.
no,
Like,
oh, no,
Black
that's
Flame. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Don't cancel me, please.
Well, I mean, you could try to argue
wouldn't
about
be me, man.
the whole genjutsu thing and the fact that Itachi is like so much smarter than Goku.
They
Then-
could have. They would cancel this whole podcast if like
Yeah.
that someone actually stated that opinion, bro. You gotta
Yeah,
be
no, people would
careful.
legit argue that Goku is beyond genjutsu because he is multiversal.
Oh my
Well,
god.
well, what's it called? Well, Itachi is not. So they're in different dimensions. Their power level. So genjutsu could not work because of the planes.
Noble's out there in the chat defending Itachi.
You know
What's he
what?
saying?
Good guy, Noble.
He's basically saying Itachi did nothing wrong, but in not so many words.
Yeah, he killed babies. Just a heads up.
Yeah, Tachi's up there with freaking.
That's my comeback to anyone who says Itachi's a good person. like, what are you gonna do about that? like he may have saved the village and hundreds of thousands of people's lives, but he fucking killed babies with his own hands.
Chubbs 100 says Vicious from Cowboy Bebop. Like he's a good villain, but I wouldn't say he's the one of the greatest. He's interesting, but to me, when I think of Cowboy Bebop, I never think of Vicious. Like I just think of how great the main cast is and how much I love them. So yeah, like Vicious isn't like one of my favorite villains or antagonists. Also, Zeke, Haika Zuma Des, definitely not Zeke. Maybe like at first, but definitely not, in my opinion.
Also, every other One Piece villain.
Wow.
Especially Don Krieg.
Every Beastman from Gurren Lagann.
Every
Just
single
every
one.
single one.
Yeah, they're all great mad lads. Thank you guys for joining us for this extra episode of the Rank Cafe. If people want to see 2 episodes a week, we'll keep it going. And my sincere thanks to both Evanito, the king of Fishman Island, and Hiding in Public, the king of I don't know.
Chairs.
Squeaky
King of
chairs.
harassing Evan with fish. Please send more pictures of fish
No,
to Evan
do
on
not
his
do
Twitter.
that. Do not
Relentlessly
do
send
that.
him more pictures
No,
of fish, please.
no,
Any kind
no.
of fish. Cartoon fish, real life fish.
Stop it, please.
Cooked fish. He loves it all.
Delicious fish. Thank you guys
On
for
a
joining
plate
us.
in a tank. Sorry.
And of course, also my boy, Beastly Briggs from Old Anime, a man who now finally appreciates the greatness that is Shoto Todoroki.
Not true. Hate
And
his
thank you
guts.
for-
Terrible character.
Thank
Very
you guys for all the fish emojis in the chat.
Magikarp is the best antagonist. I can't believe he's not your number one, Evan.
Hey, you all.
Thank you guys for joining us. We'll be back again later on this week. And until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.
Bang.